Today, the Wisconsin Supreme Court heard oral arguments in the ongoing battle to ban conversion therapy in Wisconsin. The case will determine whether Republican lawmakers can reject a state agency rule banning the practice. Our State Capitol Bureau Chief Vanessa Kelson has more on the day's arguments.
Conversion therapy is the scientifically discredited practice of trying to convert members of the LGBTQ+ community to heterosexuality. It's been banned in 20 states.
Conversion therapy, if you can even call it therapy, I mean, they refer to it as torture.
Democratic Governor Tony Evers has been trying since 2020 to get conversion therapy in the state banned, but he's been blocked 2 different times by the legislature's Republican-controlled Joint Committee for the Review of Administrative Rules.
4 people can shelve a rule that stops therapists from subjecting children to horrors like corrective rape and exorcism.
Evers' side says their block is unconstitutional.
But I understand your argument to mean that if the executive branch wants to make laws, it can just do whatever it wants.
But the legislature's side says it's their right to block state agency rules.
Rulemaking is indeed a legislative power. We would have to overrule decades of cases.
The court currently holds a 4-3 liberal majority. We can expect a decision in the coming months. From the state capitol, Vanessa Kelson.